What are you guys?
Well, we've been called ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
But we prefer to be known simply as Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Room Went Dark, the true crime in film where we discuss film, TV and documentaries all based on real events. I'm your host Lorraine and I'm joined by Amalie. Hello Amalie.
Hi.
I feel like I never say the name right the second time. I know, as in I have to make a funny voice. Amalie.
Amalie.
You good?
I'm good. I'm very good. Yeah.
You ready to talk all spooky stuff of whether it's real or not? Ooh.
Ooh, I really am. Do you know what? I really enjoyed watching. I forgot how good this film is.
It is, isn't it?
Such a good film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this film because I mean, I've seen it in the last few years, but every time I watch it, I'm like, my God, it's like, I almost feel it's like the first time that you're watching it again because it's so good. Yeah.
It kind of has a bit of everything, doesn't it? It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
It is really good.
Well, are you going to tell us?
Nah.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So this week we're discussing The Conjuring. So this film is very loosely based on the true events of the Perron family. So parents Roger and Caroline and their 5 daughters, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April. And they all moved to this old estate with a couple of 100 acres. It was like a farm with a farmhouse essentially, in Harrisville, Rhode Island, in January 1971. And very quickly they begin to experience paranormal activity.
Mm.
I've got to be careful in terms of like the film and true events because whilst a lot of it is very interlinked, a lot of it is also very different as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like the film starts with a bit of a nod to Annabelle though, doesn't it? Because like I didn't realize this, but there's like a bloody multiverse with the
Did you not know
Conjuring.
that?
Well, I do, but I didn't realize how deep it went.
Yeah, there's
So I
quite a
know
lot of
like
films.
the timelines of the films, because you've got like The Conjuring in 2013, then there's Annabelle in 2014, and then Conjuring 2, and then I think it's Annabelle Creation, and then The Nun in 2018, and then Annabelle Comes Home, and then The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and then The Nun 2. But if you look in the Conjuring universe, that is not the chronological order, and people get very, very serious about this. So just for like for viewers listening, Lorraine is the true crime person out of the two of us. I sort of came on board because I watch a lot of true crime documentaries,
And
you
I'm
sort
horror
of,
as well.
and a lot of horror.
Yeah.
And I always do, but I don't. I'd never kind of fallen deep into the true crime side of things in terms of research or anything like that. And I can completely see why you invited me to do this because I swear to God, if I didn't have other commitments and other things like just general hobbies and thank goodness I do because I could have just sat there for hours looking into this. I very well nearly did, quite honestly. Yeah, fascinating stuff.
But I like that because one thing about horror movies and true crime, you either like them or you don't. And I don't mean that as in a Marmite kind of thing. I mean more as in if you really don't want to explore true crime and horror, you're not going to do it. Then you've got people in the middle, kind of, yeah, whatever, take or leave it. And then you've got people like me. And when you're like me, you really want to find someone to talk to about this stuff. But unfortunately, all my friends don't like this kind of stuff. They don't like true crime. They don't like horror and stuff like that. So as soon as I find someone, when you said you like this stuff, I'm like, I'm never letting her go.
And I think I'm somewhere between the average and where you
Yeah.
are, right? I don't, but I have potential.
I think you get sucked in.
Yeah,
You could
it's
become one
already
of us.
happening. The
Join our
amount
cult.
I've spent this week, looking like watching videos of like interviews with like different family members and things
Yeah.
like that. Like there's so much involved. Um, yeah, yeah, I think I currently have a lot more information about the family and
Mm.
the true sort of narrative behind it than I remember actually of the film. So, um, but yeah, so the film does start with a bit of a nod, I think, to Annabelle. There's
Mm.
two nurses, isn't there, at the beginning? And Annabelle gets put in the Warrens
Yeah.
kind of like
Museum.
museum of horrors. Yeah. Um, and then of course I think the Warrens are at some sort of conference or doing, what they do. And Caroline Perron comes to search for them, which in real life is actually the opposite way around. I believe that the Warrens reached out to the Perron family because
Okay.
they heard what was going on, which is interesting. Um, and anyway, so the Perrons come to the house and very quickly, yes, they agree that there's things going on. And they essentially kind of move in, don't they? And sort of start helping out with sort of various different, I guess, I guess ways to capture proof
What's going on?
of
I
what's
think
going
that's the
on. Like, yeah.
I think that's the thing with these films is so Ed and Lorraine Warren, um, it's kind of one of those things that people think is all bullshit, or it could be true, or it's definitely true. You've got your
Sure.
levels, you know.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people where, nothing would surprise me. You know what I mean? I believe that this could potentially happen, but I think that obviously for the purpose of the movie, it gets thrown into this like I don't think it would have happened that quickly because in this I feel like it all starts very quickly. You got the nurses, we got the museum, the dogs barking, and all this kind of
Oh,
stuff. So
no.
there's all these things happening really quickly, and what starts happening to the girls with the noises and the being tugged and just little things
Mm,
here and there. One of the little ones is talking to, I can't remember the name of the person, but they're talking to like this little boy, I think it is,
yeah.
and so it all happens really quickly. Um, which I don't know, maybe it did happen that quickly, but I feel like for the film they make it a bit more.
So of course I looked I looked into
Well, you're
this.
telling this one, so tell me.
I did have a look into this. So in theory, no, it
Mhm.
didn't happen because obviously within the film, it looks like it's all based over probably like a year, right? Or
Yeah,
it's all happening really quickly and actually in real life, no, they lived in that house for just under a decade from 1970 to 1971 to 1980. They stayed in that house.
yeah.
Um, so in terms of like the kind of escalation of activity, it span over a much longer period. However, Andrea, who is the eldest of the girls, she did say that they they actually experienced their first bit of paranormal activity like after 5 minutes of walking into the house
From moving in.
from moving in, but they didn't realize because they were young. She was 12 when she moved in, so the other girls were like 10, 9, 7, and 5.
Did she say what that was?
Yeah, so basically the parents bought the house from a chap named Earl, um, and he had lived there with his wife and his son previously. Um, and I don't think, by the sounds of it, he didn't really actually want to move out. I think he loved the house, but had to basically. So his name was Earl Kenyon. And to the point that when they were like, he loved the house so much that to the point when they moved in on moving day, he still had all of his stuff there. He hadn't moved out yet. So Roger Perrin actually helped him move
Mm.
out on the day that they moved in, got all of his stuff boxed up, put it in Roger's van, and Roger actually took him to his new place. And Roger apparently even basically invited Earl to live there with them because the house was huge. There was like acres and acres of land. They kind of said, you could just live with us. You can have like a separate quarter of the house or whatever, but he obviously declined. At no point did he ever mention anything about any kind of paranormal activity at all, which is interesting.
Well, I wonder though, is it because in this they latch on to because the whole backstory behind it, with the woman who was it killed her son, and in this they latch on to the girls and the mother. So maybe it's females they go for rather than him. But then, did you say he
Yeah.
lived there with his wife at all?
But his wife had died several
Yeah.
years, earlier to that. That bit I don't know. I don't know whether there was
But
anything
also back, like, so if this
particular.
was 70s and his wife had died a while back, there was a time where if you went shouting from the rooftops about this kind of thing,
This is it.
what would happen to you? Even
And
in the
so,
70s, they'd
yeah.
think you were insane.
Well, and that apparently was part of supposedly why he didn't say anything because he just didn't want to seem like a mad
Nut
old
job.
man.
Yeah.
But apparently, on the day that they moved, he turned to Roger and he placed a hand on his arm and he said, "Roger, for the sake of the family, leave the lights on at night." And that was the only thing he ever said. Now, Roger at the time was just like, okay, big house, narrow hallways, steep stairs, fine. He probably thought it was like, I'll leave a light on for the girls for safety reasons.
Yeah.
And then obviously looking back, because Roger apparently was very skeptic right from the beginning because he worked
But he
away.
but he comes across that way in the film, doesn't he? Because
He does, yeah.
he um he almost seems like really irritated all the time and like almost like this family's just a nuisance to him until it gets serious. But at the
Yeah.
start, it's like, oh, I get the feeling that, he's a Burger from Sex and the City, and he was a right dick in that. And he's just giving me such Burger vibes at the beginning of it. I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
his name. What's his name?
Oh, the actor. Good point.
Oh God, I can't
That's a
remember.
very good question.
Hang on. His name is, as soon as I see it, I'm going to be annoyed. Why isn't this showing it? His name is dun dun dun. That's so weird. It's showing like everybody's name. Oh, there we go. Ron Livingston.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so he kind of gives those vibes right from the start. Like, are these children or his? Because that's one thing I wanted to look up and I didn't. And I was like, are they actually his kids?
I
Or
assume
was
so.
was she a single mum? That was the only thing
Oh,
because
okay.
yeah, I don't know why I wondered that. And that's why I was like, well, maybe not. I know dads can be irritated with their children, even if they are the dad.
I
But
mean,
I just,
six women and him, I guess.
yeah, that's true.
Five
But
kids.
you have 5 kids. That's kind of on you.
Quite, yeah, I
Um,
think.
but yeah, he just seemed a lot that he was just like pissed off almost all the time. You know?
Yeah. I mean, quite honestly, I think if I had five kids, I'd probably be pissed off as well. I'll be honest. Like, it's a lot to handle. But yeah, he did seem pretty pissed off,
Yeah.
initially. And I don't know whether that's just like, to show a kind of like a sense of stress of moving in or,
Yeah, somewhere new. And I think as well at the
yeah,
start, and this is what kind of happens, I think, with a lot of these types of films, is you can explain a lot of it away. The dog
yeah,
barking, oh well, it's a new place. Oh, he must be seeing wildlife, the dog dying. Oh, maybe he ate something. Oh, you know what I mean? It's like you're not going to go, well, obviously there's some ghosts in here and they mean harm. Like, it's not your first go-to. And I think
yeah.
um that's one thing about it. So, and plus you sound insane. You think you sound
Mm,
insane yourself and you think you're going insane.
hmm.
How am I seeing these things? Because we see with the mother, don't we? Like she starts getting these bruises and
Mm,
um stuff like this, and it's but how's she getting them? There's some illnesses that you can get where you just
yeah,
show up in bruises.
you
Has she
do.
got
Yeah.
that? So
Well,
there are
that's what the
things.
doc, in the film, she's taking
Yeah,
medication, isn't she? Because they so say she's got an iron issue or
yeah,
whatever it is that they say that she's got. Um, and so she's got all of these bruises on her. Um, to this Caroline's played by Lily Taylor,
yeah.
and you've got Roger Perron, who's played by Ron Livingston. Um, Cindy is played by Mackenzie Foy. Christine, who's one of the middle children, is Joey King. And then you've got the brain's gone. Nancy, who is played by Hayley McFarland, and April, who's the youngest, is played by Kyla Diva.
Yeah.
Um,
And then who's it? Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson back again because they come up, they
yeah,
pop up in everything as Ed and Lorraine Warren, don't they?
yes,
Sometimes I think they're
yeah,
actually the real ones because they just seem so, you know, they're so the chemistry with them two is amazing.
yeah,
It really is good. And it kind of I think ties in with how you hear about Ed and Lorraine Warren being, they seem like a really united couple and everything,
mm,
and I feel like they do give that out really well. Um,
yeah. Well, I guess, when you're doing the job that they were doing, like, I don't know, some sort of trauma bond that happening. Like, yeah, they played them out in the film very well in terms of like their relationship, and um there's a lot of care there, isn't there, between them both.
Yeah, because he didn't
Mm.
want to do it, did he? Because she
Yeah,
apparently had been through something really bad before, and he was like, no, but she just goes in and she's a very she comes across as like a really caring character in general, like a really caring person.
yeah,
Like so when you hear about how is it all a hoax and are they just out to get the money by doing all this stuff, that isn't the impression that you get from Lorraine Warren. And obviously, I don't know if
no,
she was like that in real life, but you don't get that vibe at all, do you?
no, not
You
at
know,
all. No. Well,
because
you get a sense that they are very caring people.
yeah,
In the film, they're parents to a young daughter
mhm.
who, um, I initially I'd forgotten the film, um, but you could almost kind of, because something bad has happened, and there are these scenes where she's with her daughter, but I don't think you see him with her initially, like the dad with the
Okay.
daughter. And so it's almost like it could appear like maybe something happened to the girl.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And then of course later on you realizing there's a phone call and she's like, I miss you. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, she's alive.
I
But
think
it's
it's weird.
interesting the way I don't think they mean to do that, but it was quite an
So you
interesting.
notice, yeah. No, I
Yeah.
I think what's weird is that they have all that in that home, and like they
Oh, I
say, oh,
know.
the house gets blessed by a priest or something, but. Like I know for a fact if my kid was in there, she'd be like, I want to see it. And you wouldn't matter how many times you told her not to go in there. She'd be in there
Yeah.
playing with everything with the Ouija board and the lot. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, because when they died, the comedian Matt Rife bought it and all its contents, and he's gonna like open up this tourist spot. And I was like, but they've got children. Like how
Yeah.
it's a very I haven't looked into it massively. A lot of people were pissed off because like you don't go messing with this stuff. It's like even if you don't believe in it, I don't think you should go messing with it
Yeah. Well, the
because
people
you
that bought the house, so the people that actually bought the Perron family house
yeah.
after them were called the Heinzmans, and they were paranormal researchers.
And did they say anything was there?
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, yeah. Things were happening like straight off the bat. There's, loads, and they were only actually there for 2 years. Um, but again, you're sort of like, that there is always that kind of little aspect of like, are they just continuing on a legacy that needs to exist? But like, so it's Corey and Jennifer Heinzen, sorry.
Hmm.
And they bought the house in 2019. Uh, and I watched a a documentary with them, sort of interviewing them. And Jennifer said it was pretty active right from the get-go, but wasn't necessarily there wasn't anything necessarily scary initially. Lots of things were happening, lots of things that scared them in the moment, but then they would high five each other after because it was exciting. That was her words. And I'm like, yeah, you gotta really be into it, haven't you? So Corey like kind of reeled off all these different things that were happening. So there was like disembodied voices, um, like they had like EVPs, so like the electronic voice phenomenon when they tape
Yeah.
pieces and things, footsteps, black masses, shadow figures at the end of the bed, doors opening and closing, objects moving, things flying off shelves. He said it was a mix of poltergeist activity and traditional hauntings. It's like an intelligent haunting and a residual haunting all in one. And they mentioned like the middle bedroom is the creepiest, or was when they
Hmm.
lived there. And they said Jennifer said she could walk through, but she wouldn't stand in the room for any prolonged length of time. She said
And
that
did
room
they
in
have
particular.
children?
They had two children
Okay,
who,
because I was wondering, like, because with Christine, how she is oh, not Christine, sorry, the mother, Caroline is the mother, isn't it? Um, how she is the target basically, and to hurt her other child, and how the
yeah,
story before that was a mother that I think killed her child, isn't it?
yeah,
So I was just wondering, like, did they do the same to her? Or equally, did they not because they knew that they were paranormal investigators and knew all the tricks of the trade and could cause them they're a bit harder to take down.
well,
Like, I don't
apparently
know.
there'd been one instance where the son had woken up and there was a black mass just sort of like hovering over
Yeah.
his bed. And he said it had freaked him out so much that Corey had had to get his sister to come and pick him up and basically take him down to hers. And there are later clips of him as a teenager. I don't think he's that old. I'd say maybe somewhere from like 16 to 19 or 20. Like he doesn't seem that old in
Hmm.
the clip. And he's saying, I won't ever step back into that house again. There's just something about it. So
But
I
if
don't
all
know
that
when he moved out of it, but
he doesn't look old enough to be gone that long.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
So unless he went off to university, I don't know, but yeah.
I wonder though, if you like, so you've got the history with the Perrons, and if you moved in, and so like if you take the Amityville horror, there's basically everyone's saying that's a hoax, that the Lutz family made it all up and money film and stuff like that, right? And a lot of
Cool.
people think that, and people that have moved in since say there's been no activity, nothing.
Right.
It's fine.
Interesting.
So if you moved into the house and into this house, and straight away you're getting this. You've got two children. You're the woman, the mother, and this is who it happened to. And you know what happened with the Conjuring. Obviously, I know they didn't call it that back then. But you know what happening with that. Why
Yeah.
would you stay when you know that there's and your child is terrified? Like, and I get like with the Perron family, they had to stay because they didn't have the money, wasn't it, to move? They couldn't
Yeah.
move. Um, but why would you do it if you knew what happened and and it was going on like that in itself makes me think that it's not real, or they're just messed up that you would put your children through that.
Some people want to, I mean, but that I guess if they are paranormal researchers, so they're
The
interested
kids
in
aren't,
the kids aren't true. Yeah.
like,
I don't know.
I'm sure there's enough places you can go and visit that are haunted.
I think their idea was that they wanted to be able to do something about it. That was their kind of like it was
uh
a very much a
yeah,
research thing of like they thought that they could, and they were actually only there from 2019 to 2022. So I
so
don't
they didn't stay
know.
that long.
Yeah, they didn't actually stay that long, so maybe something did happen. I don't know, or maybe they were just like, actually, this is rubbish, and we'll keep up the pretense of the legacy of the Conjuring house, but we'll also sell it for like I don't know 1.6 million or something like that as we leave. I don't know, but
But
yeah, I guess it's open to interpretation for whatever sort of I guess camp you fit into, whether you believe in these kind of things or you don't.
yeah,
It's still an interesting backstory because the eldest daughter, Andrea, I mean, she's done multiple interviews. She's written the
so
book, which
she's
is
saying
obviously what the
yes.
film was,
Yeah.
yeah, based on. What it was part of the inspiration for the film was from her book. Um,
So with regards to, so there's some pretty brutal scenes in here, like especially when one of the daughters, she gets thrown around the place. The
mhm,
mother obviously changes very physically as well as her behavior.
yeah.
Like how much of like those kind of drastic things that we see within the movie actually happen? Like how abused by these bad demons, were they?
Well, and that's where Andrea, in a lot of the interviews, says differently. You know, the seance actually, she said, was quite frightening in the
Mm,
sense that her mum, they did, so the Warrens did the seance,
yeah,
and so Andrea in some of the interviews that she has done.
yeah,
She actually saw the real life seance with the Warrens and her mum,
yeah.
and she, and I quote, said, "My mother began to speak in a language not of this world, in a voice not of her own. Carol levitated, and she was thrown across the room." So some of it, I guess, is correct. They've kept some of that in because she does get thrown across the room, doesn't she,
Yeah,
when they
she's
do
in
the,
that chair and she
yeah.
starts looking a bit peaky.
But the whole kind of Bathsheba Sherman side of things is made up. So
That's all made up, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So and Andrea's kind of said like, actually we think that that activity is something completely different. It's nothing to do with
yeah.
the villain that's portrayed in the film. Because I think Bathsheba's meant to be like she's meant to be a witch, isn't she? That's been kind of wrongfully accused, and is sort of vengeful and wanting to inhabit people.
But it's saying
Um,
here that she was actually a real person. Turns out there was actually a real person named Bathsheba Sherman who lived on the Perron property in the mid 1800s, and she was rumored to have been a Satanist, and there was evidence that she had been involved in the death of a neighbor's child, though no trial took place, and
yeah,
she was buried in a Baptist cemetery downtown Harrisville. And it says here they believe it was her spirit tormenting them, and that's the thing. Like, so
okay.
she's saying that in the interview, and
Yeah,
I
because
would,
Andrew's saying that she doesn't think it was Bathsheba,
yeah, and I
but
think that's the problem with a lot of these things is why, when you watch a film like this, what you can believe and not, because that's the person that was there. And she's like, no, that was all. We just made that up to make the film a bit more interesting, like to give us a
yeah,
villain, like you said.
yeah,
And then here it's saying that, oh yeah, but then and here it says about how Andrea, according to Andrea, they experienced other things as well and smell rotten flesh and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And then there's actually a picture of a tombstone um for Bathsheba. So there is. So yeah, it's hard to know. Well, to be honest with you, I mean, some of it I do think's a bit all over the top and everything. And
Sure. Well,
but
it's what makes a good movie,
yeah,
though, isn't it?
exactly. But I do feel like they went through something, and
Yeah.
but I think it's so unbelievable because you just can't imagine these things happening to yourself. But I still wouldn't go messing with it. Now, if I thought it wasn't a problem, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't. I've never done a Ouija board that I can think of. I think I went to do one, or I no, my mum did one, but I don't think I ever did one. But I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. Like, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't test it because I don't know, you know? So while I think a lot of it's like far fetched, at the same time, I'm not willing to take that risk.
You didn't ever do a Ouija board as a kid?
I don't think so. I
Oh,
might
I
have, but
did.
I'm old now. I don't remember that far back. um so yeah, so I get why people think it's all bullshit.
Well, of course they
But
do. I mean,
also,
I know plenty of people quite close to me that would
yeah.
think that this is complete bullshit.
Oh God, yeah, so do
Um,
I.
and whether that is because it's from a logical standpoint, where they're just like, no, that
Yeah.
doesn't exist,
Seeing is believing type thing.
yeah, seeing is
Yeah.
believing, or whether it comes from a place of I don't want that to exist, and
Fear.
therefore, yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't exist. I logically, I am sort of kind of down that route, but then I'm also like, you know what? You never know. You just don't know. Um, it's tricky, isn't it? Because I know kids in particular have quite
and animals.
imaginative minds.
But you see animals like
But
they say they
animals,
can see things.
yeah. So when I forgot to say actually, so when Andrea was talking about the first 5 minutes when they walked in,
Yeah.
they were moving in boxes. They were all sort of like in and out, bringing boxes in from the van into the house. And Earl was in there, and Andrea had said hi to him. And she'd picked up a box to turn it around and take it upstairs, and there was a chap stood in the corner of the room. So she said, "Oh, hello, sir." Walked past him. He didn't respond, didn't,
Hmm.
offer a reply at all. And then in sequence, three of the other sisters, uh, came in following with their boxes, all asking about the man. There wasn't a man there. So that was their first paranormal activity, was that as clear as day, there was this man, like flesh and blood, like a human being, stood in the room with Earl in the
Yeah.
kitchen, I think it was. And all the girls, not all of them, but majority of the girls had all seen the man, but none of the adults seemed to be able to see him. And so in the
Yeah.
beginning, the girls just didn't say anything about it. They kept it quiet because they were like, well, they're not going to believe us.
Yeah, they might, and I think that's probably it's represented in um what's the husband called again? Greg? No, what's his name?
Craig,
Greg.
oh God, my brain. Roger.
Roger. Um, maybe that's the representation of it all in Roger. Like they didn't tell
Yeah.
because because you would like, when kids are young, they say all sorts of crap. Like, do you know what I mean? And oh,
Yeah.
there's a guy standing in the corner. Yeah, yeah, all right. Um, and if you kept that up, because to be fair, if you see some stranger in the corner, you're gonna no, I did, like and really go on about it. And
Mm.
eventually, then you might be saying, I don't want to go to bed because I'm scared because I saw that guy in the corner. And they're like, oh, you're just using this as an excuse now because you don't want to go to bed. And it kind of would
Cool.
bring on all this like irritation for him. And I
Yeah.
feel like maybe it kind of shows that in him because that's who you felt he was. He was that irritated by it all. So when they were saying something
Yeah.
grabbed me, something was at the bed, he's behind the door and all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh, you could see with him, it was like, oh, just
But of
go to
course,
sleep,
yeah.
you
But
know?
I mean, in his mind, he's moved his family into a new house. They're all just adjusting
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
change and the new situation. They're in a new house and a new, maybe not a new bed, but in an unfamiliar
And they're so
environment.
creepy, that house. That house is,
And they're freaking out.
I'm not a big fan of like that kind of home where, like it's like a big wide, the doors seem bigger than my door and going in, and the room is very wide and echoey and high ceilings. And, it's just, there's nothing warm about that home. That's the thing. There's
Mm,
nothing cozy, you
yeah.
know? And that's, I mean, maybe you didn't have as much in your house. Like now we clutter our houses up with all sorts of shit. But um that house it was cold. I felt like it was very cold, even though I wasn't standing in there.
Yeah, but they did a good job of showing that, didn't they?
Yeah. Is there something next to you? Is that Steve?
No.
Harper?
It's
I just saw the pillow moving. I was like, it's happening in your house.
Dun, 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 dun. I
Um,
do, in fact, have the dog next to me, yeah.
but yeah, the home itself in this film is, yeah, I wouldn't want to go in it even if it wasn't haunted. I wouldn't want to stay the night.
Yeah, they
Too
they
empty,
made it
too
feel
loud, too
unwelcoming,
echoey.
didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Straight
did a good
away it
job.
was just whereas I don't feel like, when you watch the Amityville Horror, I don't feel like that one was the same way. Maybe that was because
Yeah.
it was surrounded by other homes or something, whereas this one is very isolated as well. You know what I mean? They're kind
Again,
of out
yeah.
there on their own.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and one scene actually that always really gets me in it is, the feet hanging from the tree.
Yeah.
Things like that she
Yeah.
sees. And no, it's him that sees that. Is it her or him? I can't
It's
remember.
her, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she goes down
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so there's, that creepy tree, the creepy home. Like everything's just really creepy. You don't need the spookiness of the ghosts and stuff because it's just, I just wouldn't go somewhere like that,
Yeah.
unless there was a big
I
crowd of us and then we were leaving straight away.
For me it's the bit where Mum go starts heading down to the cellar.
Mm,
And like every part of you is just like, no, what are you doing? Don't do it. Because at that point, she knows there's something going on.
yeah.
All the girls are mentioning that these weird things are happening and etc. etc. I think that the photo frames have fallen off of the wall and on the stairs. Yeah, and I don't. I guess we don't. We doesn't matter if we spoil it. Most
No.
people have watched it. Um, she obviously goes down, has her experience, comes back up, and is in the dark in that kind of the top bit of the stairs, locked in
Yeah.
from the main house. Um, f for me personally, as a child that was frightened of the dark, like that bit in particular, I don't know why, it just gets me every
Well, it's the
time.
basement, isn't it? There's this whole,
Yeah,
like with America, and I mean, when I lived in America, we had a basement that you went down and it was just your laundry that was there to do.
sure. Yeah.
Um, but it was an apartment block in the basement. But, I've been in others with basements too. But it's just, I don't know, they're just so creepy. I feel like every basement should be lit up like a Christmas tree. Like, do you know what I mean? When you go down it, but they're not. And if you don't use it as like, because the way sometimes people convert them into a room and stuff like that. So it's all been painted and there's stuff in it. But
Yeah.
then when you go down there and a lot of them, and they haven't done that, it's like when you go out to your crappy shed and you haven't been in there all winter
Yeah.
and there's,
Well, it's
dirt
like
and cobwebs everywhere, it's like that.
Yeah, it's like attics here though in the
Yeah.
UK.
Yeah.
We just put
No.
stuff up there and it just
We
gets
haven't
kind
seen
of
ours.
shoved.
We've been here a year and a half and we haven't even looked up there yet.
You know what's up there.
No,
Bathsheba could be up there
I'm
in
gonna
in your
don't
loft.
say that. My kid already thinks there's someone out there because a friend of hers said it. But
Oh, there you
she,
go.
yeah, it was a nightmare. But yeah, I'm gonna send my husband up there to have a look because I ain't going up there. No
No, no.
way.
I
But
had a friend actually that moved into a house. Because do you know the rule that if you find something in the house, you have to keep it? It's bad luck to get rid of it. Have you ever
I
had
did
that?
not know that.
Yeah. So if you ever move into a house and someone's
Yeah,
left something, whether
yeah.
it's like a painting or like an object or something like that, you're meant to keep it because it's bad luck if you throw it out. And I remember a friend moved into her house when she bought it, went up to the attic, and there there was an actual painting of a clown hanging on the wall in the attic. And she was like, well, fuck, I'm gonna have to fucking keep this fucking thing up there. And she's terrified of clowns. She hates them with a passion. So there's this clown hanging on the wall in her attic, which she's absolutely terrified of. So she sends her husband up every time she needs to put something up there. But as far as I'm aware, it is still there. I'll have to
That's
ask her.
insane. But they are creepy, and attics are
Yeah,
creepy, and
completely.
basements are creepy. So
It's true.
and especially if you get locked
Yeah.
in the dark,
Yeah. It's
like
terrifying.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely terrifying.
But that's the thing with a lot of these films, with this film in particular. A lot of it is at night and it's in the darkness, and you know,
Yeah.
that's like my worst nightmare. I still sleep with a nightlight.
Do you?
I
It's
do.
because you watch too many horror movies. There you go.
That's nothing to do with it, mate. That's what people keep saying. But you know, but I started sleeping with a nightlight before I started watching horrors. I did start watching horror films when I was about 7 or 8,
Yeah,
maybe
that'll
9.
do
Yeah,
it.
and then true crime started a few years about. I was a teenager, so yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, that's the thing with this. But I think with the mother, while obviously she's doing this bad stuff because she's basically been possessed, I find the whole thing quite heartbreaking watching her do that, especially when she starts to kind of come around.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's I don't know. It's when and I think when she's like driving off with the kids and they're trying to talk to her and they will answer her and like that's your mother. So
Yeah.
why is she acting like this? So it's while it's scary and you see all these terrifying things and you wonder is this mother going to kill her kids and stuff like that. It's also really heartbreaking. But especially
Yeah.
that bit it must be when like for the mother in between the kind of change where that you're still you but something's not right and then you're feeling more and more to
Yeah.
doing like something bad and acting in a certain way, like that middle bit must be that's menopause.
You're like, hang on a minute. I know. Why can I
No.
relate to this so
Um,
well?
but yeah, it's really quite heartbreaking to see. And I think the mother at the end bit is quite I think that's sad.
Mm,
So you kind of have the scary bit, but then there's also kind of like you have to kind of the humanity of it, or watching these
yeah.
people really suffer in the
Was
most
it?
horrible way.
It's the mum guilt as well, isn't it? That
Yeah,
she's gonna, have to deal with of
yeah,
doing what she's done to the children. And there's that kind of one part where she sort of when she does come around and she hugs the youngest.
yeah,
And you, I mean, you can see the kid plays it really well because that
yeah,
kid's just like, get the hell
yeah.
off me. Like,
You
I
psycho.
don't know who you are. Um, I think for me, a little bit, I sort of felt for Roger as well, particularly when they're
Mhm.
doing the seance because, that's his wife and
He couldn't do anything.
no, uh,
Helpless.
and he doesn't, he's worried, like he's scared that one, they're gonna hurt her, but also in that moment, she's also sort of not her. you know. And they sort of have to go through with it. And of course, Warren at that point is not in the film, at least he's not a sort of seasoned exorcist.
Yeah.
He's sort of doing this because he knows that he can, but not necessarily that he's,
Well,
massively
he's the option
experienced
though,
at it.
isn't it?
But he's the only option.
Yeah,
So you've got someone that's doing the seance that perhaps, isn't the most experienced,
yeah.
who's essentially trying to, you know, drag out a demon from your wife. Um,
When you put it like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the thing though. The whole thing is quite heartbreaking to watch in the sense that yeah, you're just watching people that you and the thing is, it's like they're gone, but they're not she's not dead, So there's
no,
an element of it, the mum, the element of are we going to get her back?
yeah,
Can they actually do this?
yeah, because there is a moment where you
Yeah.
think, are they gonna? I think that there's something, someone says a line, I can't remember what it was now, and you do for a split moment, you think, oh God, like
Yeah.
what if what if this doesn't work? They do
Did
a
you
really good job of it.
did you see in that interview with Andrea, did she say anything like about how her mother was after it happened?
So not necessarily there was nothing that I sort of saw in terms of immediately afterwards or
Yeah.
anything like that. Because obviously the seance, um, they were talking about like the different voice and all the rest of it, but I don't get a sense that her mum was kind of like,
Yeah.
possessed in the same
Yeah.
way she is in the film. I know that um the girls didn't, well, Andrea in particular didn't, she was away at university when the Roger and Caroline decided to sell the house.
Okay.
Um, because Andrea said she absolutely loved that house. Considering everything that kind of went on, she it was her home. Um, and she was beside herself when she found out that her mum and dad had basically sold the house
And have they
because they hadn't
passed? Have the
told her.
parents passed? Have they
So the
died?
parents are passed now, I think,
Yeah.
in real life. Yeah. Oh, actually, no. I think the mum's still alive. I think Caroline's still alive. I think Roger has passed.
And I wonder, does she
Um,
know about the film? Like, is she okay with the film, or is it
I don't
just
know. Yeah, that's a good
that's
question.
the thing? It's like, like you said, Andrea was involved with it, didn't you?
Well, so Andrea wrote a book called, oh God, I can't remember what it's called now. The Darker. Oh yeah, so Andrea wrote a book in 2011 called House of Darkness, House of Light, which was her own, I guess,
Experience.
interpretation of what had
Yeah.
happened in the house throughout the years. And that was what then obviously, helped to inspire the film. Um, but in it, when she says she she did an interview in 2020. She did a couple of interviews in 2021. So one was with Global News interview. It was a Global News interview, and she said, even though The Conjuring is an excellent film for what it is, it's about 95% fiction and about 5% hard truth. We all experienced encounters with spirits. Some were unpleasant, some were lovely, cordial, and communicative. From benign to benevolent, to oblivious, to mean-spirited. The spirits were just like us, a wide variety of personalities. She did also say later, actually, in another interview, that the family had actually gone back and done history on the previous owners of the house because there had been 8 generations of the same family that had
Oh,
all lived and died in the house, and they could actually put the name from the people in the families that lived in the house to the spirits that they thought existed in the house when they were there.
well, that's interesting.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
So it was almost that it could link up who they thought, the little boy was this person, and this chap was this person. So it was quite, it's quite a fascinating, and I did want to, because I kind of looked into it all a little bit because I wanted to see that usually there's one family member that calls out bullshit, and it's just
Hmm.
like it's full of crap. But actually, her book, she sort of basically says it's a collaborative effort from the whole family.
So they all got
They
involved.
they all got involved and they all gave their instances. And she said for the majority of the time, the hauntings really only happened to Caroline and to Cindy, who was one of the younger children, I think. So Cindy was about 7 when they moved in. So there's
Yeah.
Andrew, who's 12. Um, Cindy was about 7. The little one was only like 5. Um,
She died.
Cindy died.
No,
Yeah.
April died.
Oh, April died. Yeah, sorry, April died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her. In 2017.
Yeah. So Andrea was 12. I think Nancy was 10. Christine was 9. Cindy was 7 and April was 5 when they first moved
So
into the
when
house.
did this book come out?
2011, I think.
So I think one thing it shows is they weren't in it to make money, because if this happened in the 70s, like, and especially, actually, this is interesting. So, um, Amityville,
Mm,
what was that, 70s?
yeah.
Amityville Horror came out in 1978, I want to say. And so this would have been before.
Mm,
So they saw the money that was being made from Amityville Horror and, the DeFeo murders and everything. And they didn't jump on that bandwagon.
no. Well, Andrea actually mentions, she sort of says that she would talk about it when she was at school, and she
Yeah.
actually got told off by a teacher who basically, I think it was college, it might even been college or university,
Mm.
who basically said, like, if you don't stop talking about this, I'm gonna fail you. Because I think maybe it was taking over class and stuff. I'm not quite sure, but and so she was very studious. She enjoyed college. She basically just like stopped talking about it for a while. Um, but she sort of said, like, everyone in, like, locally knew about the house. They knew all the stories.
Yeah.
So, after they'd moved in and they'd gone to school, they started beginning to find out more about the house and what happened to people in the house, and but in theory there hadn't necessarily been any hauntings per se, particularly not with Earl and his family. But interesting that you said,
Yeah, because the
I
stuff
don't
they
know.
said, the flies and the gunge coming out of the walls and all that kind of stuff. And obviously
Mm,
they knew people were murdered because DeFeo murdered his entire family.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, like they had the stuff that they could have said. I mean, maybe it didn't give enough, because obviously Amityville has the murders behind it, whereas this one didn't.
yeah, maybe.
Um, but if it took them to 2011 to write something, and then obviously that was starting to make money, Yeah, it's kind of, you have to wonder, did they actually go through this, but just thought, you know what, let's just forget this ever happened? Because you do get people that, you hear about people that go through horrific things that they could make money from. And they're just like, no, that, because I obviously in the true crime world, and you see some people and they're just like, no, I just want to forget about it, you know,
Yeah.
whereas others, want to tell their story. And I don't think, I'm not saying that people do it just for money. Some people do. Um, but they
Yeah.
they didn't. And I know obviously now they have, but it took, decades later before
Yeah,
it
well, I think
happened.
initially Cindy, for example, she didn't want to talk about it. She was actually quite
Mm.
traumatized by it all.
Yeah.
And I think the only one really big thing that had happened was when she was about 8, which was about a year after I think they'd all moved in. And she had been sat on her bed reading. And this was the room that later Corey and Jennifer, who were
Yeah.
the people that moved in afterwards, this was the room that they said that they couldn't
Wouldn't go
spend,
in.
yeah, they couldn't spend any
Oh.
time in, was that the bed had kind of like like leaped,
Hmm.
and then had like essentially levitated and started sort of like moving around the room, and then had dropped back down.
Yeah.
And Cindy had said, I wanted, I couldn't move. I wanted to get up and run downstairs, but I was frightened about what might be
Into
underneath
the
the bed. And so
yeah.
she sort of stayed just in the bed, just terrified. And it just couldn't for
Couldn't
years
move.
couldn't really talk about it.
With
And
that in the movie, the one room with that giant creepy wardrobe
yeah,
and the two girls in the bed and stuff in beds and stuff. But
yeah,
that yeah, there's that bit where Joey King's character, when she looks under the bed.
right.
Do you remember when
Yeah,
she does
yeah,
that? And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just like, no, why are you doing
Oh,
that?
it's
And
horrible.
it's the kind of they're the type of things, because you're like, is there going to be something under the bed? Is there going to be something next to her when she gets, pulls herself back up? And you just
Yeah.
don't know what you're going to get. And like under the bed, which isn't the case for many people, was completely empty. Usually you'd have boxes and all that kind of stuff under there,
Yeah.
storage. Um, but yeah, so that's obviously probably the room that they're talking about, because that a lot of stuff seemed to go on. And like the way she
Yeah.
was yanked down off the bed, she saw something in the corner, something come out of that wardrobe. Um
Oh,
and
the clapping hand. Oh my God, the
oh
clapping
yeah,
hand.
that game where they
Oh
they
God.
clap for you. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as they
Hide
said
and
they were
clap.
playing
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't like that game. As soon as they said it, I didn't like that game at all.
Yeah.
um that that one scares me. um but yeah, I think there's a lot of moments in here where, they are scary. I think it does
Yeah,
serve
yeah,
that purpose. They do that well. And like
definitely.
we said, we both thought that this is a really good film. And I think the story behind it is fascinating. Whether you believe it or not, I think it's a really, you know, good, it's a fascinating story. And I find like hauntings and stuff like that supernatural. I do like a lot of stuff with in the supernatural realm.
Same.
Um, And I've
Yeah.
watched some of the other Conjurings, like the second Conjuring is a good one. That one's based in England. And that's a really good film. Um, I haven't watched all of the Conjuring films, I don't think. Um, but this
No, I
one's
think I watched The Nun.
yeah, and I
I
didn't
haven't seen Conjuring 2.
no, that's really good. That
Yeah,
was
I
really
need
good.
to watch it. I don't think I have anyway, but
I watched The Nun, and apart from one or two bits, I didn't find it that scary. There were bits in it that I was
okay.
like, ooh, but yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, overall, I think this is a really good film, and I'd happily watch it again
Oh
and
yeah.
dig down deep again into the. You could go down a rabbit hole on YouTube, I think, with all this film and the theories behind it and all that kind of stuff and the interviews, and you kind of get really sucked into it. Well, it sounds like you did.
Yeah. I kind of I had to pull myself back from it, if I'm honest, because I was
Yeah,
like, I don't have time for but I think maybe I will work my way through the chronological order
yeah.
of all of them at some point
I keep meaning
and
to
just
do
follow
that.
the
I want to do. Yeah, I keep meaning to do that because I like the the thought of doing that. It's just like you said,
Yeah.
finding the time to do that. But I will be going down a rabbit hole next week because it's my turn to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well,
um,
I'd also be interested to hear like if like because this is kind of like it's a proper universe, right? There are
yeah,
forums and
yeah. Oh God, yeah,
be interesting to see if anyone listening has got any viewpoints on
yeah.
it or
Or do you have any supernatural stories yourself?
oh yes,
You
please.
know, because I do love to hear about them. And but overall, yeah, I'd like to know. Do you think it's all bullshit? Are you a hardcore believer, or are you like us, where we're like, meh, don't know, but I'm not going to go messing. Um,
Open to
Open to
yeah.
suggestions, yeah. Um, but anyway, yeah, next week we are going to do The Woman of the Hour, and that is the
Yeah.
story of a very real monster,
Yeah.
Rodney Alcala, and he creeps me out. And I know serial killers creep people out, but this guy, watch the before when we watch this, because a lot of it is about that, but go to the real episode on YouTube of him in the dating game.
Okay. Yeah.
And honestly, you'll just want to have a shower afterwards. It's so disgusting.
Oh
He's
God.
just so
Can't
creepy.
wait.
Yeah. But that's the one we're going to be doing next Wednesday. So come back and have a listen to that, and I'll be taking the lead on that one. But if you want to go and find out what we're doing, we're on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok as The Room Went Dark. And you can email us at theroomwentdark@gmail.com, and we will chat to you soon. Bye.
Bye.